Manchester United fans' ears pricked up last night, did they not? When they heard that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the billionaire, wants to buy a stake in Manchester United. A spokesman for Ratcliffe confirmed that the man himself would welcome the chance to talk to the club's American owners, and Ratcliffe would be willing to discuss a minority holding with the Glazers initially if it was part of a plan to take control at a later date. So I would have thought Manchester United fans, many of them, would be dancing in the streets last night. Who wrote the story? Matt Dickinson wrote the story, the Times senior sports writer. And he, earlier on talkSPORT, talked up the seriousness of the incoming bid.
I certainly understand that the Glazers are looking for some kind of outside investment for a stake, and Jim Ratcliffe is willing to discuss that. At the same time, I think we see from his other businesses, and certainly knowing the means he's got available to him, that he's not the type to stay a sort of silent minority holder for forever. I think he's a guy who likes to own things, control things, and run things. So I think if he was to get involved, even if it was initially with a minority stake, he would want that to. Well, I was told sort of firmly yesterday that he would want that to be with a view to a full takeover. So, the ball really is in the Glazers' court now. Obviously, the state of United, I think, obviously, the way the club's been run is catching up with them now on and off the pitch. And, I think the club is at an absolutely fascinating fork in the road for its history.
I think that's a very good analysis, by the way.
Yes. Now, when you look at it, Ratcliffe was unsuccessful with his attempt to get a hold of Chelsea.
Yeah, because he didn't want to follow process. That's why he was unsuccessful. He wanted to come to the party after the process had closed. Yeah,
look at what he's doing in Nice, in the south of France. I mean, hardly comparable to Manchester United, I admit, but he's been investing heavily. New signings, Kasper Schmeichel, Aaron Ramsey. The club also made a £10 million bid for Blackburn Rovers striker Ben Brereton Diaz. So in other words, when he goes anywhere, it makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, let's get scale on these things. He's taking players on free transfers and inheriting some of their wages. There's no big transfer fees being bandied around. But notwithstanding that, Manchester United is most likely in play. I poo-pooed the idea that Elon Musk may just be virtue or sort of not virtue signaling. We're getting paranoid, but that was expression. Getting himself into the public domain for some sort of repute. But you never know with these people, because all of a sudden you see Radcliffe come out of the ether. Look, I mean, everybody knows that the Glazers will sell. The Glazers will sell if someone writes out a cheque that's comparable with what they think they want for it. No one has ever said anything different. I'm not saying anything different I've said before. If someone is able to come along and write a cheque out for £5 billion, because don't forget, Man United is a wonderful sporting brand. It is arguably the biggest sporting brand around. And
so what is the cheque you write?
Well, I think it's probably somewhere between 4 and 5 billion. Because if Chelsea is $2.5 billion and Manchester United are far, not on the football pitch, but this isn't about football transactions to some extent. The pitch has got to replicate the overall picture in the end, but this is far bigger than that. This is about a worldwide influencing brand that was put on the New York stock market for a variety of reasons. One, because it's a domicility of the Glazers, but also because it's a market that could house a particular transaction. I think there's a possibility that there will be a variety of things going on. You want to see who's the debt behind the money that's in Manchester United, and maybe there's a discussion to be had about how that debt gets converted into equity and they become a passenger in the bigger picture, whoever the debt is that Glazers borrowed the money from. Arguably and debatably, people talk about debt. Do you know who the most indebted football club in the world is?
Go on.
Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur owe the most money. They owe more money than Barcelona. They owe more money than Manchester United. But the level of debt that they've got is against the stadium. And the level that they're paying on the debt is far cheaper than Man United paid on their debt.
Right.
And of course, the income they get from the stadium services the debt and gives them more revenue. But they are the most indebted football club. So when we talk about debt, and people get all up in arms about it, of course, debt that's used to fund a football club when it's losing money against debt that's used to fund a football club to develop opportunities, they're two different things. I think possibly, if Radcliffe is serious and he's talking through his representatives, that somewhere along the line, the Glazers have got 70%, 69%. They reduced 8% last year by selling some of their stock when their share price bounced on the back of Cristiano Ronaldo's signing. So I think you could find yourself in a situation where if a Radcliffe or a Elon Musk is interested, and these people will be interested at some point, that a 29.9% position is where they'll look to get to, because that gives them an effective control without having to buy the full football club at this moment in time.
As you know, Simon, Sir Jim could buy United and anything else he wants, really, for fun. I mean, he knocks the Glazers out of the park, isn't he? I mean, at the moment, his own net worth is in the region of £28 billion US dollars.
Yeah, okay. So I thought it was about 15 billion, but notwithstanding it, it's significant wealth. The idea that this is going to be an entirely philanthropic play is nonsense.
Yeah.
And the idea that Todd Bowley and his gang, who, by the way, have borrowed money to service the debt to service opportunities going forward, is about a return. So it's interesting, and I've no doubt the moment people start hearing that there's going to be potential purchasers, people like the Supporters Trust will start coming out with their list of conditions about how they think that people should buy their
Simon,
club.
I was as open-mouthed as you're about to be about that in a second. But all of this, of course, much to the annoyance of the Manchester United supporters, benefits the Glazers, doesn't it? Because shares of Manchester United rose by as much as 17% in pre-market trading yesterday. Yep. This was after Musk got up to his tricks.
Yeah, that's how it works.
And then, of course, it goes northwards after Ratcliffe arrives in the scene. The Glazer shares are now worth £200 million more than they were a week ago.
Yeah, but that's how the stock market works. I mean, ultimately, the stock market is driven by a set of parameters, and a lot of them are rumours, a lot of them are supposition. You know, when Ronaldo came in to United last year, I think the share price went up to about 16, 17 quid, which put the market value about 2.9 billion.
Yeah, but you and I talked about Ratcliffe this morning. The Glazers will be giving it, bring it on, chat all you like, guys.
But with due respect, the share price that's on the market against the price that you're going to have to buy off them for is two different things. The bottom line is the Glazers have got 69%. If I'm telling you and believing that the price of this football club, if Chelsea's 2.5 billion, United are 4 and 5 billion. If it's 5 billion, that doesn't bear any resemblance to the market cap via the share price. And it's not necessarily that they'll stay listed. So there's a whole raft of things. Yeah. But what it is, undoubtedly, one way or t'other, United are in play.
Yeah.
And what that means will be for us to watch with a degree of fascination. But what it doesn't mean is that you're going to get someone like Daddy Warbucks walking through the door that just thinks this is a Christmas gift for all the United fans.
Simon, briefly, I know, and I heard, I'm not going to say the name you mentioned to me, but you were in contact with one or two people who know Ratcliffe. I think he's one of the few big hitters you actually personally haven't met yourself.
No, correct,
but I know some of the people close to you do know him.
Yeah.
For the United fans listening, before we speak to the senior member of the United Supporters Trust, what's the guy like?
Oh, he's top draw. I mean, there's a variety of people out there that are very, very high level. Jim O'Neill's another one. They're top draw guys. These are people that operate at the highest level of business. They don't get to this sort of level of wealth and level of innovation and creative thinking and absolute delivery of outcomes without being top draw. You know, whether he will end up owning a Manchester United is a different discussion, but he's putting himself in the discussion. And let's be clear, Manchester United is an enviable brand, even in the tarnished state that is on the pitch right now. People lose sight of the fact that Man United isn't just a football team; it is an iconic way of looking at the football world through the prism of Manchester United, and that makes it a hugely desirable brand.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.